So, welcome today to another computer build. This one's going to be just a generic desktop workstation for a marketing person that we're going to be hiring part-time. So, yeah, let's get to the parts. So for the case, I went with the Thermaltake Versa H18 TG. TG is just a tempered glass side panel. Costs you $10 more. This case was $54 retail. Pretty good. Micro ATX full-size power supply. No frills, but attractive enough. For RAM, I'm going with 32 gigabytes, two 2x8 gig 3200 C16 kits of T-Force Vulcan Z. I bought it because it was really cheap. It was on sale for $59.99 per 16 gig kit, and 3216 is kind of the de facto standard for 3rd gen Ryzen. Behind that, I have a 650 watt power spec non-modular power supply. I have a B450M DS3H. I bought that because it was open box and cheap. B450 chipset does not support PCIe Gen 4, but it won't matter for anything that we're using. Ryzen 5 3600 non-X processor, and a 512 gig SATA-based SSD. The reason I'm not using M.2 today is because this is $15 cheaper right now. There's a shortage of M.2 drives. GPU, I'm not actually going to be using this. I'll be using an RX570 4 gig XFX card. This is just to boot it, get it all working and installed because the card is not here yet. Quick walk around on the case. Just a nice small tower. The glass is definitely an obvious add-on, but nice looking little case here. Does have a power supply shroud with an opening so you can see the where you spent your money. Looks like it's missing a screw here, which is not cool. I'll have to double check the box. Hopefully it's in there. Right here. Standard fare. Does come bundled with one 120 millimeter case fan. Supports a 120 or a 140 on the top. Magnetic dust filter. There is a dust filter for the power supply intake as well. And it uses a fine mesh on the front for dust filtration as well. So this motherboard, basic stuff. It does at least have a heatsink on the VRM. It does have 4 DIMM slots. I believe these are in daisy chain, not T topology. By 16, by 4, by 1. It did not come with an I/O shield, which sucks, but $37 for a compatible motherboard right now, I'll take it. The 3600 non-X comes with a Wraith Stealth cooler, so a little baby box cooler. Decent enough for stock use, but this will be doing production work. So I'm going to be using a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. That should see clocks on this thing get well into the 3600X range. So the CPU is inserted. I'm going to be placing the tower cooler fan side on the DIMMs, blowing through to the exhaust fan. And then this little bracket fits right over top down there, and we will screw it in. So normally you would have put the I/O shield in, then the motherboard, but I have no I/O shield, so it's installed. Next up will be installing the screws into the standoffs, and then the memory. Well, the memory's in. Time for the power supply. So I'll put the main unit in first, and then we will fish the cables in through the back of the chassis. And then we can start doing some cable management and installing our SATA SSD. The EPS and the 24 pin are in. Power supply is screwed in. Next up, we're going to mount that SSD. So luckily, not much to this system. PCIe just sitting ready and waiting. But yeah, actually a clean little system. No RGB. The motherboard does have a couple of LEDs on it, but I guess the graphics card will too. Shoot. It's hard to build a system these days without RGB. But not too bad.